Chapter 61 Zhou Xionghang is terrified. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At that moment, seeing all those people lugging sacks around, even Zhou Xionghang started to sweat. He kept telling himself, there's no way Gu Wenqing has 40 million lying around, not at his age. They must just be passing through. Yeah, that's it, just passing by. Zhou Xionghang muttered, beads of sweat popping out on his forehead. Meanwhile, the bank employees were hustling towards them from a distance. The first one practically collapsed when he reached the crowd, gasping, "Which one of you is Mr. Gu Wenqing?" Gu Wenqing casually raised his hand. "That's me." The guy looked up, stunned. "The guy who's withdrawing 40 million in cash is this young? Must be one of those super rich kids." "Mr. Gu, I just need to confirm your identity." "No problem. I can have President Long give you a call." Gu Wenqing understood. He knew the bank would be extra careful with that much money. They had to verify who he was to make sure everything was legit. Gu Wenqing pulled out his phone and made the call. After the bank employee confirmed Gu Wenqing's identity, he said respectfully, "Mr. Gu, the 40 million in cash is on its way. Please be patient for a few minutes." Gu Wenqing nodded. "Thanks." Seeing Gu Wenqing's nod, the bank employee turned and raced back towards the road, where a ton of sacks of cash were waiting to be unloaded. Ignoring the shocked faces around him, Gu Wenqing opened one of the sacks, peeling back the top layer to reveal stacks of bills. Each stack was 100 grand. So, that sack has to have over $1 million in it. Before anyone could even process that, more bank employees arrived, each carrying another sack. They dropped the sacks next to Gu Wenqing and sprinted back for another load. 40 million in cash is a lot to move back and forth. Boom! Everyone's brains short-circuited. They just stood there, mouths agape, staring at the mountain of sacks. Sacks full of cash. If each sack is $1 million, and Gu Wenqing's got 40 or 50 sacks stacked up, that's 40 to 50 million. And they're still bringing more. At that point, everyone was floored. He wasn't kidding. He actually withdrew 40 million. Seriously over the top. The people who'd been questioning and laughing at Gu Wenqing were now dying of embarrassment. Ouch, talk about awkward. The more smack they talked earlier, the more ridiculous they felt. Gu Wenqing was showing them, in real time, what a smackdown looks like. The car guys who recognized Gu Wenqing's Ferrari were chiming in. "I told you this kid was loaded. Now do you believe me?" Seeing him roll up in a Ferrari, I knew he could pull this off. Driving a multi-million-dollar Ferrari, you gotta be rich. And those license plates? State of the art. When you're that rich, money's no object. Ha! The guy who called him out as a fake is so scared he can't even open his mouth. Their excited chatter only made things worse for the doubters. They were just shrinking into themselves. They wanted the ground to swallow them whole. For the last 10 minutes, they'd been ripping on Gu Wenqing, joking about Zimbabwean dollars, calling him a poser. Now, it turned out he was the real deal. He not only drove a Ferrari, but he could pull out 40 million in cash with a single phone call. The guy they were laughing at was rich, not just rich, but seriously loaded. OMG. So cringe. The more they thought about how they'd mocked him, the more mortified they became. Beyond embarrassing, the Radisson hotel security guards were shaking in their boots. What kind of big shot had they ticked off? Zhou Xionghang looked at the cash filling the road next to him and nearly burst into tears. He's just a demolition house rich guy, plus some construction company exec. He's used to throwing his weight around, but he'd never seen anything like this. His boss, the head of the construction company, barely has $1 million in assets altogether. And the kid he'd been mouthing off to could get 40 million in cash delivered with a phone call. How was he going to get out of this mess? How ridiculous. He'd wanted to see how the pretender would back down, and now he was the one sweating bullets. Someone who could whip out 40 million like it's nothing was not someone he could afford to mess with, especially since he'd just said, "I'll make you lose everything." That's been replaying in Zhou Xionghang's head. What was he thinking? Someone who can spend 40 million easily must have assets of at least $1 billion, and a net worth of tens of billions. He just threatened to make Gu Wenqing, who's loaded with a family fortune of tens of billions, lose everything. he was an idiot. He tried to backtrack, saying in a trembling voice, "I was in the wrong gear and bumped your car. It was my fault, I wasn't thinking. I know I have to pay for the repairs. I will, I promise. I'm begging you, please don't hold this against me. Forgive my foolishness." Gu Wenqing didn't even flinch. He grabbed a stack of bills from one of the sacks and tossed it at Zhou Xionghang. The heavy wad hit Zhou Xionghang, and he grimaced. "Is that enough? If not, I'll pay more. How much do you want?" "I'll pay it." Gu Wenqing stepped forward, looked around at the crowd, then locked eyes with Zhou Xionghang. "If 1,000,000 isn't enough, then how about 10? If 10 million isn't enough, then 40 million. I'll pay you whatever you ask for." His casual tone sent shivers down everyone's spines. Talk about boss moves. Zhou Xionghang's legs were shaking. He was soaked in sweat, whether from the heat or fear, he didn't know. His face paled when he heard those words. Would 1,000,000, 10 million be enough to buy his way out of this? Forget 1,000,000, 10 million, or 40 million, he wouldn't dare to ask for a single penny. Chapter 62 One Day Interest 109 million. You are listening at novelfull.audio. How dare Zhou Xionghang even think about hitting up a sugar daddy like that, trying to squeeze cash out of a guy who could drop millions without blinking an eye? Please. Compensation. For what? You must be mistaken, Mr. Gu. Zhou Xionghang bowed his head, shamelessly playing it off. Actually, I was the one who got my face rearranged by your esteemed hands, Mr. Gu. If anyone owes money, it's me. Everyone who heard that felt a chill run down their spines. Holy crap. Who talks like that? Especially seeing Zhou Xionghang, the guy nobody dared to mess with before, suddenly groveling and begging Gu Wenqing for forgiveness with a swollen face. They were completely stunned. Who would have thought that Zhou Xionghang, who drove a Mercedes-Benz S400, would fold so fast? Now he was just chum in the water. Gu Wenqing smirked, a mocking kind of smile. Beating someone means you gotta pay up. I'm not unreasonable. Then he narrowed his eyes, his tone leaving no room for argument. Time to settle up what you owe me. My time isn't cheap. Gu Wenqing lived by a simple motto: leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. But if you mess with me, prepare for war. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Nah. Gu Wenqing was about to turn Zhou Xionghang's own thug tactics right back on him. Gu Wenqing snapped his fingers. A bank employee standing nearby instantly knew what to do and said, "If Mr. Gu's 100 billion is in a regular checking account, the daily interest is around $8 million. But with a certificate of deposit, especially a 3-year one at about 4%, the daily interest jumps to over $10.9 million. So, even if Mr. Gu does absolutely nothing, he makes $10.9 million every single day. And that's not even counting the other 10 or 20 billion he has on deposit with us." After the bank employee finished, the air crackled with silence. 1 second, 5 seconds. 15 seconds, did they just hear that right? Over $100 billion on deposit? His daily interest alone could buy a Maserati. If it hadn't come straight from a bank insider, nobody would have believed the kid had that much cash. Just imagining that many zeros was enough to make your head spin. After what felt like an eternity, the murmurs exploded into a roar. $100 billion. That's insane. Wait, did he say he doesn't even bother counting the extra 10 or 20 billion? I'm on my knees, dude. Please accept my humble servitude. So this is what it means to be filthy rich. Living the dream. Everyone stared at Gu Wenqing, jaws dropped. It wasn't just envy, they were practically ready to worship him. Unfazed by the envious stares, Gu Wenqing glanced at his Vacheron Constantine watch. You've wasted almost 30 minutes of my time. Round it up to half a day, so you owe me about $50 million. 30 minutes equals half a day. Gu Wenqing was being totally unreasonable and ruthless. But that was the only way to deal with guys like this. He wasn't about to show any mercy to a 2-bit hood like Zhou Xionghang. Boom. Gu Wenqing's words hit Zhou Xionghang like a bomb. He was floored. $50 million. Zhou Xionghang stammered, completely shell-shocked. He liked to splash the cash, but there was no way he had that kind of money. He'd only bought the Mercedes-Benz S400 to front. The Radisson Hotel Platinum card wasn't even his. He borrowed it from his boss to impress the low-level goons hanging around the hotel, making them think he was some kind of big shot. He loved soaking in the Mr. Zhou adoration. Where was he supposed to get that much money? On the other side was a bazillionaire. If he couldn't cough up the cash, he was a dead man. He knew how ruthless the rich could be. They'd just pay some high-powered lawyer to twist everything, make black look white. Besides, Zhou Xionghang had his own skeletons in the closet. Framing people, extortion, slander. If a good lawyer dug into that, he'd be looking at serious jail time. The thought sent a wave of panic across Zhou Xionghang's face. He gritted his teeth, his voice shaking. I apologize. It was totally my fault for wasting your valuable time, Mr. Gu. Please, don't take it to heart. That he called his boss and begged for a $200,000 advance on his salary. Adding that to the $200,000 in his account, he barely scraped together the $500,000. Gu Wenqing waved his hand, beckoned a bank employee over, and transferred the $500,000 directly into the employee's account. Then, Gu Wenqing looked around at the dozens of bank employees who'd hauled millions of dollars in cash and the armed bank security guards. Gu Wenqing said, "Thanks, everyone, for your hard work. Consider this $500,000 a little something extra." Hearing that, the resentment of the staff, who had come to give money on a hot day, disappeared completely. Bold, bright, total class. At this moment, the staff who have been busy for a long time are full of joy in their hearts. Young Master Gu is really majestic. Everything is considered in doing things, and it will not be a disadvantage to let the subordinates do things. If the 500,000 is divided equally between 80 to 90 of them, each person can get close to $6,000. Soon. The insurance company rep showed up. Zhou Xionghang was taking full responsibility for the accident. After everything was settled, order was restored in the garage, and the long line of cars that had been blocked started trickling into the underground garage. Ding. You have unlocked the new title, mind-blowing. Reward, Radisson 5-star hotel. Reward, Magic City land parcel valued at $300 billion. System rewards will be distributed to the host in a reasonable manner. Please use them with confidence. The matter of withdrawing $100 million was over, and Gu Wenqing also unlocked a new title in due course. Radisson Hotel. The 5-star Radisson Hotel is a 47-story building with 520 rooms, providing guests with a series of convenient facilities, including 5 restaurants and bars, 10 meeting rooms, a multifunctional banquet hall, gymnasium, indoor pool and spa. The revolving restaurant and star lounge at the top of the hotel. The reward this time is that the estimated value of the Radisson 5-star hotel alone is $50 billion. Chapter 63. The system invests $3 million to buy land king. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When he saw the second reward, Magic City land worth $300 billion. Whoa, Gu Wenqing was floored, land worth $300 billion. For context, Shanghai's second land transfer batch this year was a big deal. The land supply was top-notch, and real estate companies were chomping at the bit. Almost 80% of the land hit the ceiling price, with total transactions reaching nearly $780 billion. If the total turnover of all 4 plots was only $780 billion, and his land was worth $300 billion, that meant it was not only in a prime location but also massive. The plot was in Suzhou district, encompassing 28 parcels, including the extension of Huangpu Jiangnan. It was a mixed-use development with commercial offices, restaurants, hotels, cultural and sports facilities, residential housing, social rental housing, and public squares, totaling over 320,000 square meters with a total development volume of approximately 1.8 million square meters. This kind of location and scale. Irreplaceable, the land was located in a central urban area where space was a premium. It was one of the last large-scale development opportunities along the river in Shanghai's core, offering a high starting point and a huge footprint. Large plots in central Shanghai were virtually extinct on the land market, and Suzhou District's protective development policy for Binjiang made its land value sky-high. Wenqing was speechless at the value of $300 billion along the river in Shanghai. He was genuinely stunned by the reward. He'd already gotten $100 billion in cash from the system by unlocking the new title, plus a bunch of cool stuff like a Ferrari La Ferrari, a fancy restaurant, and a movie theater, but this land just blew his mind. It wasn't just about the money. Land this rare usually required serious connections. No matter how deep your pockets were, you couldn't even get in the door to bid. And $300 billion for a piece of land? The development profits would be insane. 10 minutes earlier, at the Shanghai Land Exchange, 2 dozen real estate companies from all over the country were packed in. Among the big names was Huafeng Real Estate. Huafeng had recently finished building 7 plots in Shanghai, and most were already sold. Only some high-end villas and bungalows were still on the market. The land purchase funds were flowing back in, and the company was flush with cash. Lin Hongtian, the group's founder, arrived full of confidence, determined to snag at least 2 plots. Reality, however, delivered a swift kick to the ego, because the king of this land auction was that super-rare Suzhou Binjiang parcel. And that had drawn every major player in the country. Huafeng Real Estate was a well-known brand in Shanghai, and their communities were high-quality projects. But their competitors were national real estate titans. Huafeng just didn't measure up. 15 parcels were up for grabs, and the big boys scooped up 14 of them. Huafeng went home empty-handed. Now, only the Suzhou Binjiang parcel remained. The executives who wanted this land were already salivating. This one's ours, no question. We have to have it. China's top real estate companies were ready to rumble, all mentally preparing for a win. Bidding shot up from the initial $120 billion to $200 billion in a heartbeat and kept climbing. In the back row, some local Shanghai guys said to Lin Hongtian, "Forget about it, Lin. Land like that goes for over $200 billion, it's way out of our league. Yeah, the big boys are here for this one piece. Otherwise, we might have gotten something. Don't sweat it, my company still has projects underway." Lin Hongtian frowned, feeling helpless. These giants always bought land for over $1 billion more than it's worth. Mid-sized players like him were at a disadvantage. Shoot. Huafeng is all out of land, and will have to wait months for the next auction. Lin Hongtian thought, disappointed. $223 billion. $226 billion. Bigue Real Estate bids $250 billion, $250 billion. The room went silent. Suzhou Binjiang's valuation was $230 billion, meaning Bigue was paying a $20 billion premium. Many present could afford to go higher, but they had to consider their own cash flow, bank loans, and ongoing projects. Eventually, everyone bowed out. $250 billion, going once. $250 billion, going twice. $250 billion, just as the hammer was about to fall, someone said, $300 billion, that it was the auction manager himself. He continued, Mr. Gu from Huafeng Real Estate bids $300 billion, that he had just received a call. Mr. Gu of Huafeng Group offered $300 billion for the Land King, and the funds had already been transferred to the government account. Thanks to the system, Gu Wenqing didn't even need to show up, the system was taking care of it. Whoa. $300 billion. A $70 billion premium. Insane. This was crazy. The real estate CEOs were stunned. At this point, they were no longer interested in the land, the premium was too rich for their blood. $300 million, going once. $300 million, going twice. $300 million, going 3 times. Congratulations to President Gu Wenqing of Huafeng Group for winning the Land Auction King. Clap, clap, clap. The bosses gave a perfunctory round of applause. Mr. Gu of Huafeng Group. Who's he? Spending $70 billion to win the Land King? Lin Hongtian asked, clapping along. He's something else. Huafeng Group is a force to be reckoned with. They just slapped all those big companies in the face. Other local Shanghai players were gossiping, then it clicked, Lin Hongtian, wait a second. Huafeng. Isn't that my company? Other real estate players, holy crap. Huafeng Group is Lin's company. Reality dawned. Someone asked, is this Gu Wenqing a shareholder in your group? Lin Hongtian replied, with mixed emotions, yes, a minority shareholder. Lin Hongtian's mood was a roller coaster. Huafeng Real Estate, which had developed 7 plots, was now worth about $900 billion. And one of his minority shareholders had just spent $300 billion on a plot of land. This was absolute madness. $300 billion was equivalent to 1/3 of Huafeng's valuation. Sure, the valuation of Huafeng Group was $900 billion, but the actual cash on hand was less than $200 billion. Old Gu, you're even richer than I thought. Lin Hongtian sighed. With the system's integration, Lin Hongtian's memory now included that of Gu Wenqing, his shareholder. Chapter 64. Yes, I bought the Radisson Hotel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Radisson Hotel. Mr. Gu, no offense intended, please don't take it personally. The security captain blurted out, clearly anxious. The other security guards didn't even dare breathe, much less make a peep. They were sweating bullets, secretly cursing Zhou Xionghang under their breath. Freaking idiot, those guys had to go and piss off a billionaire. Now they're all paying for it. Gu Wenqing just smirked. A disaster. Please. Meanwhile, back in the manager's office of the 5-star Radisson, the manager got a call from the owner. After hearing what the boss said, the manager was floored. The boss told him he'd sold the Radisson, and he was no longer the owner. Okay, got it. After hanging up, the manager was still reeling. The Radisson was making bank. Why would he sell it? That's like killing the golden goose. Ding dong. An email popped into the manager's inbox from the old boss. It contained information on the Radisson's new owner. Holy crap. After checking out the profile, the manager was dumbfounded. Only 18. Buying the Radisson at that age. This kid's family fortune must be insane. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Come in. Ming Wan, the lobby manager, walked in. The traffic jam at the garage entrance is clear now. She announced. The manager frowned. Half an hour for something that small? What are those security guards even doing? Then, the manager forwarded the email to Ming Wan. The Radisson has a new owner. Check out the info. I just sent it. Got it. Ming Wan was also shocked. Buying a $50 billion hotel just like that? This new boss is out of control. Curious, she opened the email. When she saw the photo, her jaw practically hit the floor. Isn't that the guy who was raising hell in the garage, that she'd been watching from a distance? Even with the mask, the hairstyle and eyes were a dead giveaway. What did you say? The manager snapped. Are you sure? Ming Wan nodded, wide-eyed. The manager jumped to his feet, barely able to process what he'd heard. His heart sank. On the very first day the new owner bought the hotel, he'd screwed up big time and pissed him off. This was a death sentence for his career. No, he had to fix this. The manager yelled, get all the managers down to the garage, pronto. We need to meet Mr. Gu. Okay. Ming Wan said, then immediately put out the call. Back at the garage. Order had been restored, and armored trucks were driving in one after another, loading up with stacks of cash and peeling out. The security guards had mouthed off to Gu Wenqing, but whatever. If he wouldn't accept their apology, that was his problem. So what if he was rich? It wasn't their problem. They were still getting paid $400 to $500 a month. Mr. Gu, we'll get out of your way. Before the security captain could finish, a flurry of hurried footsteps echoed through the garage. The Radisson manager arrived with a small army of managers in tow. Boss, you're here, the manager said respectfully to Gu Wenqing. The other managers echoed. Welcome home, boss. Everyone stared, speechless. What the hell was going on? The Radisson manager and his whole team had come out to greet him. And they called him boss. Yang Imo was stunned, the security guards were petrified. How did things get so messed up? They just couldn't wrap their heads around it. They were just upholding the privileges of platinum members, and they ended up offending the new boss. It was laughable that they questioned whether Gu Wenqing could even afford 100 million, much less the hotel's platinum membership card. Turns out, he just goes and buys the whole damn 5-star hotel for 50 billion. Was it too late to apologize? The security guards bowed and stammered, "Boss, we're sorry." Gu Wenqing, stone-faced, pointed at the manager. "You and your security team are all fired. Pack your things and go to payroll for your final checks." Leadership had failed, enabling this indiscriminate abuse of privilege. This kind of behavior could not be tolerated. His words crashed down on them like a thunderbolt. They were unemployed. Especially the pot-bellied manager, who nearly collapsed. He'd just lost his $1 million job. He could have cried. Yang Imo, trembling, asked, "Brother Gu, did you really buy the Radisson?" Gu Wenqing didn't hesitate. "Yep. Seeing my sister get treated like that, I couldn't stand it. So I bought the hotel and fired those losers." Hearing that, Yang Mo's classmates were speechless. Did they just hear that right? He bought the Radisson just to fire the security guards. Holy crap, that was some serious flex. Spending a fortune to buy a $50 billion hotel just to fire a few security guards, that's some serious "I'm rich, bitch" energy. Buying a $50 billion hotel was as casual as buying groceries. Who wouldn't envy that kind of carefree life? And those girls who were trash-talking Gu Wenqing earlier? When the bank actually delivered 100 million in cash, they were won over. 2 years out of college, they'd already learned that money talks. Between love and money, they'd choose money without hesitation. They couldn't stop staring at Gu Wenqing, rich and handsome. Casually withdrawing 100 million in cash, buying a 5-star hotel on a whim, and probably having billions stashed away, and the way he stood up for his friend, buying the hotel just to fire the staff. It was so boss. It gave the girl such a sense of security. Too bad they just mocked him earlier. Now they were kicking themselves. They felt like they'd blown their shot with the young and wealthy Gu Wenqing. Gu Wenqing glanced at them, knowing they were gold diggers. He didn't even linger on them, instead settling his eyes on Yang Imo. Chapter 65 Rolling Profit. See you next time. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yang Imo had a makeover. She ditched her usual professional look for a knockout black dress with a pattern. It was fitted just right, showing off her killer curves, S-shaped front and back. A little cutout at the collarbone showed a peek of her smooth, pale skin, adding a touch of sexy charm. The dress hit just above her thighs, showing off her legs. Her hair was styled in loose, sexy waves, and her makeup was sophisticated and on point. She looked amazing. The only thing that wasn't perfect was the flats she had on for driving. If she had heels on, she would have been the ultimate bombshell. Of course, Yang Imo didn't actually believe Gu Wenqing's BS. But after all of this, her attraction to him had definitely gone through the roof. Tall, loaded, handsome, and thoughtful, what's not to love? Feeling Yang Mo's gaze, Gu Wenqing touched his face and asked, "What are you looking at?" "You look great." Gu Wenqing joked, "Then how about a kiss?" Yang Imo was really into Gu Wenqing at this point, but she was too embarrassed with so many people around. She whispered so only he could hear, "Next time, there are too many people." Buzz. Just then, Gu Wenqing's phone vibrated in his pocket. It was a bunch of messages from Wang Min. The first one was from over 10 minutes ago. Yang Imo headed to the wedding, and Gu Wenqing said he had to check his email, then headed to the Radisson Hotel, reading the messages as he walked. "Wang Min, baby, are you coming?" Sad face, "Wang Min, do you like this maid outfit?" Blushing, "Wang Min, honey, why are you ignoring me?" "Wang Min, jerk. You're just using me." Angry, the messages were spaced out, so he knew Wang Min really missed him. He had been busy with Yang Imo and hadn't noticed Wang Min's messages. Time to tease her. "Gu Wenqing, something came up at school. Can't make it." Wang Min, who was waiting for his reply, finally got the message. Seeing it was bad news, her face fell. What a jerk. Ungrateful. She had gone to so much trouble preparing all the goodies. Wang Min was furious. Mr. Gu, good afternoon. Mr. Gu, hello. Mr. Gu, welcome back. As soon as Gu Wenqing walked into the hotel, the staff greeted their boss. Gu Wenqing saw, lobby manager, on Mingzhuan's name tag, the hotel's GM had just been fired. He'd promote her temporarily, then replace her if she wasn't cutting it. Gu Wenqing asked, "You're the lobby manager here?" "Yes, Mr. Gu. My name is Mingwan. How long have you worked here?" 5 years, sir." Mingwan was excited. The GM had been fired, and the boss was asking her all these questions. Could she be getting a promotion? Gu Wenqing didn't disappoint her. "Okay, I want you to try the general manager position temporarily." Gu Wenqing's words were casual, but Mingwan understood. Temporary general manager meant it was a trial run. The boss was testing her, and she'd be damned if she didn't do a better job than the last guy. Gu Wenqing took the elevator to the presidential suite. He knocked on the door. Boom. "Who is it?" Wang Min peered through the peephole. Gu Wenqing's face filled her view. Wang Min's disappointment vanished, and she happily opened the door, wrapping her arms around him in a tight hug. Clinging to him, she moaned, "You big liar. Honey, I've already washed the incense." Gu Wenqing leaned down and whispered in her ear, "Then let me smell it." Feeling his breath on her skin, Wang Min's knees went weak. She leaned against him, both resisting and inviting him. Gu Wenqing looked at Wang Min up close. She was wearing a white bodycon dress with white stockings that hit mid-thigh. Under the makeup, she had a pure vibe. The sexy dress and her innocent face made Gu Wenqing's eyes light up. She had really put some effort into her look. Gu Wenqing smiled. For all her hard work, he'd have to reward her. Gu Wenqing picked her up and carried her inside. Later, Gu Wenqing said, "Next time, lose the skanky club shorts." He liked the look, but he wasn't about to let other guys see his girl wearing them. "Ah, but I thought you didn't love me anymore, so I wouldn't wear them," Wang Min said, scrunching her nose. Gu Wenqing grinned. "Nah, you gotta wear them." Wang Min smiled. "Okay, I'll only wear them for you." Gu Wenqing took a sip of water and noticed the tall black boots. He asked, "Those boots look great, but don't they get sweaty in summer?" "I wash them every day, so my feet don't stink." Wang Min bristled, like a cat whose fur had been ruffled. "You saw them that night you were drunk, did they stink then?" "Yeah." Wang Min pouted. "Liar, they don't stink." She playfully punched him in the chest. Gu Wenqing squeezed her hand, his eyes burning. He breathed. "I don't believe you." Later, Wang Min collapsed, exhausted, and fell asleep instantly. Just then, Yang Mo sent a message. "Yang Mo, what's up, cutie?" Cute emoji. Gu Wenqing, long nights, missing you. Smirking emoji. Yang Mo knew what he meant. "Why do you miss me?" Question mark. Gu Wenqing winked, "I wanna do you." Yang Mo replied a while later, "You're such a pervert." Blushing emoji. Gu Wenqing, "You owe me a kiss." "When am I going to get it?" Yang Mo, "Next time we see each other." Looking forward emoji. Gu Wenqing, "That's a deal, but talk is cheap." Smirking emoji. Chapter 66. Only children make choices, adults want all. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Summer in September. Youth always means saying goodbye. Military training at Modi University was over. Gu Wenqing and his crew said their farewells to the instructors. A few of the girls got weepy, and some gave the instructor a reluctant hug. The early days of military training were rough, the middle were a laugh riot, and the end brought a touch of melancholy. It was over. During that time, Senior Wang Yanran's tights, Chen Xiaohua's bubbly personality, the pristine Qin Munan, and Gu Wenqing, who made countless hearts flutter, all got sealed into memories as military training wrapped up. "Hey, let's go check out the Oriental Pearl Tower. I'm hitting up the Shanghai fried buns. Let's do a bar crawl on the bund." Huang Zicheng, back in the dorm, chimed in, hyped, "Let's hit tax tonight." Zhou Tao, curious, asked, "What's tax?" Huang Zicheng grinned slyly. "It's the hottest club in the city. Heard the girls there are smokin'." Zhou was getting pumped. "You been there?" "I've never even been to a club." Huang Zicheng didn't hesitate. "How else would I know what the talent at tax is like?" "Damn, didn't peg you as a player. You dog." Zheng Xiaohong's eyes widened, giving him a thumbs up. Huang Zicheng soaked in their awe, feeling a twinge of guilt. He was totally bullshitting. He'd only heard his cousin brag about how hot the girls at tax were. He'd never actually been, but the 100 million sitting in his account gave him all the confidence he needed. Huang Zicheng said, "Old Gu, you're loaded. You've gotta have been to tax, right? Tell them what's so great about it." Gu Wenqing thought to himself. The first time he went, he hooked up with Wang Min. The first time he went, he bought tax, the hottest club in Shanghai. No way. You're full of it. My cousin said the owner of tax is in his 40s. Ain't no way you two run in the same circles. Huang Zicheng scoffed. Gu Wenqing just smiled. The four of them headed back to the dorm. Huang Zicheng ripped off his camo uniform and tossed it in the trash, jumped in the shower, and changed into what he thought was a cool outfit. Zhou said it was a shame to throw the uniform away. He was gonna wash it and dry it and wear it when he went back home to work on the farm. Huang Zicheng rocked a white shirt tucked into some slim-fit dress pants, making sure to flash his flashy belt buckle, and finished it off with some Nikes. He messed with his bleached hair in the mirror. Zheng Xiaohong said, "Damn, why you gotta be so extra? What do you know? You gotta dress to impress at a club, just in case I score with some honey, hee hee." Huang Zicheng said, getting lost in his fantasy, looking like a total creep. Zhou grimaced. Huang Zicheng's style just didn't click with him. He was already skinny as a rail, but tucking his shirt in made him look like a paper cutout, and those tight pants cramped up his junk. It just didn't look comfortable. What a waste of money, that get-up. Zhou thought. Gu Wenqing looked sharp. Lao Gu didn't even have to try, he was a natural. Zhou hesitated, then asked, "Hey, Huang Zicheng, are Mo Luo and the others coming?" Truth be told, Zhou was envious of Gu Wenqing, who had all these girls after him. He wanted a relationship, too. Mo Luo was pretty and sweet. He was crushing on her hard. Zhou didn't come from much. His folks were farmers back home. He'd never even been to the nearest city until he got into college. He felt a little out of place when he first got to Shanghai, but military training had helped him feel confident. He was at a top university now, and he figured he could do anything. He figured Mo Luo had to be into him, too, otherwise, she wouldn't chat with him. Huang Zicheng gave him a look. "Dude, who goes to a club to invite girls as a group? We guys will have more luck if we roll solo." Huang Zicheng was horny as hell. Li Wenfang wasn't giving him the time of day, and he was jealous of Gu Wenqing's success with women. He'd had enough. "I really miss Mo Luo." Alright, we'll ask them out in a few days. And don't tell Mo Luo about the club." Huang Zicheng snapped. He didn't want Li Wenfang finding out and ruining everything. For the nightclub trip, Zhou and Zheng Xiaohong also started to put on a show. Zhou put on his $10 Nikes. Zheng Xiaohong slicked his hair back with gel into a pompadour. He even gave it a name. "If you want to be a player, your hair gotta go backwards." Gu Wenqing stared at the three ridiculous outfits. Speechless, he said, "Next time, just dress normal." Huang Zicheng protested. "Damn it, old Gu, you're just jealous of my swagger, afraid I'll steal your thunder." Zhou grinned. "You look like a goofball. You're not in Lao Gu's league." "What do you mean?" "I'm a K-pop star." Gu Wenqing, Zheng Xiaohong and Zhou groaned. Zheng Xiaohong asked, "Did you guys check out the school forum? They're talking about the 4 goddesses of Modu, and now it's 5. "Oh, who's the newbie?" Zhou asked. "A bunch of the guys are voting for Qin Munan." Huang Zicheng scoffed. "Get out of here. Qin Munan is the forever queen. She's way too good to be just a school beauty." The original 4 goddesses of Shanghai Metropolitan University were Wang Yanran, Wen Qian, Lu Shiyao, and you man. Now, the pervs in the forum were fighting over which freshman girl was most likely to become a goddess. Most people were backing the Ice Queen Qin Munan, adored by many as the perfect girl, had a lot of diehard fans, too. The two sides were going at it online. Xionghang asked, Old Gu, who do you think is better? Qin or Qin Munan? Gu Wenqing was busy chatting with his senior. He said, they're both good-looking, in their own ways. Qin Yinxue's icy face and stunning looks made the guys want to win her over. Qin Munan's personality was bubbly. Her small waist and long legs got people excited at first sight. Different strokes for different folks, Huang Zi asked, but if you had to pick the best-looking one, who would it be? Gu Wenqing smirked. Kids make choices. Adults want them all. Everyone's jaw dropped. Huang Zicheng and the others were stunned. You had to hand it to Gu Wenqing, he was thinking big, take them all. After a moment, Huang Zicheng and the others had a thought in their heads, Lao Gu might actually be able to pull it off. Chapter 67 Which boy did Qin Munan give fruit to? You are listening at novelfull.audio. During military training, Qin Yinxue kept showering Gu Wenqing with sparkling water. It was one thing to thank him for his bravery, but this was every single day. Chen Xiaohua clearly had a thing for Gu Wenqing, and now, Qin Munan, another campus crush, was somehow involved with him too. She'd even taken the initiative to ask for his WeChat during military training. You had to admit, Gu Wenqing had serious game. Huang Zicheng, Zhou Tao, and Zheng Xiaohong were green with envy. Buzz. As Gu Wenqing's roommates were joking about him, his phone vibrated. Speak of the devil. He pulled out his phone, a message from Qin Munan. Qin Munan, I'm downstairs by your dorm. Military training's been rough, so I brought you some fruit. Qin Munan, come down and get it. Standing near the entrance of the men's dorm, Qin Munan wore a white crop top, showing off her collarbone and tiny waist, paired with baggy blue jeans. The jeans had slits on the sides, offering glimpses of long legs in black stockings. Her gorgeous face and sexy figure turned heads. Guys couldn't help but stare. Some of the hornier ones were practically drooling, wishing they could devour her. Someone shouted from inside the dorm, the goddess is downstairs. The guys on the first floor went wild, spreading the word, and soon, guys were hanging over the balconies, gawking at Qin Munan. She really was stunning, and even more so now, out of uniform. Guys were mesmerized. Was that fruit on the ground next to her? She was bringing someone fruit. They looked at Qin Munan, puzzled. Is Qin Munan giving fruit to some guy? No way. She's probably just resting because the watermelon's too heavy. Bull, the girls' dorm isn't even in this direction. I refuse to believe she'd give stuff to a guy. The guys were buzzing, arguing back and forth. Finally, one brave soul went outside and asked, Hey, are you tired? Where are you headed? I can help you carry that fruit. I'm waiting for someone, Qin Munan said, shaking her head. A direct rejection. The guy was crushed as he walked back toward the dorm. Another guy patted him on the shoulder, asking what the goddess had said. She said she's waiting for someone. What? The guys' faces went white. Was she really here to see someone? How could that be? Was this a new trend? Goddesses bringing guys stuff? Chen Xiaohua handing out sparkling water every day, and now Qin Munan bringing fruit. They were all dumbfounded. The guy must be pretty special to warrant the goddess's attention. The guys who saw this were bitter, jealous as hell. Out of the two freshman goddesses, Chen Yinxue was clearly hung up on Gu Wenqing, and now it seemed Qin Munan liked someone too. Guys were bummed, wondering why they couldn't catch a break with a goddess. Hearing the commotion, Huang Zicheng was the first to rush to the balcony. He was a hardcore Qin Munan fan, and had been arguing about her and Chen Xiaohua on the forum earlier. Seeing Qin Munan in person for the first time, Huang Zicheng was stunned. Then he saw the fruit. Huang Zicheng said in shock, Holy crap. Qin Munan really is here to give fruit to some dude. Zhou Tao and Zheng Xiaohong joined him on the balcony. Zhou Tao said with regret, Too bad. She added Gu Wenqing on WeChat during military training. I thought she might be into him. Zheng Xiaohong scoffed. Everyone knows Gu Wenqing already has a girlfriend back home, plus Chen Xiaohua fawning over him. Qin Munan's not stupid. Hearing this, Huang Zicheng agreed. Yeah, Qin Munan's definitely not looking for Gu Wenqing. Gu's already got his hands full. Qin Munan seems like she values herself. No way she'd like him. Done. Huang Zicheng sighed dramatically. I wonder who's so lucky to be on the receiving end of all this. Zhou Tao glanced at Huang Zicheng. Definitely not you, bud. Shut your mouth if you don't know how to talk. Huang Zicheng thought Qin Munan was a goddess. If he wasn't dating Li Wenfang, he'd totally go after her. The three roommates were complaining. Gu Wenqing, half-dressed, quickly got ready and left the dorm. A moment later, the three saw a familiar figure below. Huang Zicheng was confused. Hey Gu, where are you going? Zheng Xiaohong also looked perplexed. He probably thinks Qin Munan's looking for him. Zhou Tao had a feeling. Wait a minute. Could she actually be looking for Gu? Huang Zicheng said coldly, no way. Absolutely not. Downstairs, Gu Wenqing felt helpless. He seriously didn't want to deal with more girls. One girlfriend back home and Chen Yinxue were enough to give him a headache. And now Qin Munan. He was not trying to get into all that. Why was Qin Munan so insistent on bringing this to his doorstep? Didn't she know he was trying to avoid this? Hey, I bought fruit specially for you. Qin Munan said, pouting. Noticing the helplessness on Gu Wenqing's face, she felt a little hurt. The fruit in the school supermarket's not fresh, so I picked out fresh fruit for you off campus. Thought it was quite a walk from the school gate to the men's dorm. She was a girl carrying a banana and a big watermelon. She was exhausted, and there was a light sweat on her forehead and nose. Qin Munan was fanning herself with her hand. Gu Wenqing couldn't bring himself to refuse. After seeing the fruit, Gu Wenqing was a little confused. How did she know he loved watermelon and bananas? Must be a coincidence. Gu Wenqing touched the watermelon. It was probably just bought from a fruit shop, because it was still a bit chilly. Gu Wenqing chopped the watermelon in half with one swift blow, handing half to Qin Munan. You look hot, eat a piece. Qin Munan happily ate the watermelon Gu Wenqing had handed her. She was very happy, and the small grievances disappeared. The guys watching were losing it. Some students stared wide-eyed, jaws dropped, in utter disbelief. Chapter 68. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What the heck is going on? Did Qin Munan, the school's it girl, just offer to bring Gu Wenqing fruit? Doesn't she know that Wang Yanran and Chen Xiaohua are both head over heels for him? Munan's moving fast. Even though Gu Wenqing's clearly a player, she's still falling for him. The guys are green with envy. Beyond jealous. Suddenly, Gu Wenqing became public enemy number one for the freshmen. Both of the freshman goddesses are crushing on Gu Wenqing. It's just not fair. Why does everything good always happen to Gu Wenqing? Every guy's face was grim, their hearts aching. They were dying to run down there and smash a watermelon over Gu Wenqing's head. A chorus of complaints rose from the crowd. That Gu Wenqing is such a dog, flirting with two of the hottest girls. Gu Wenqing is a legend. All three of the school's goddesses are after him. He's the ultimate boss. I'd pay him to teach me his pickup skills. Teach you what? Gu Wenqing's tall, rich, and handsome. If you had what he's got, you wouldn't need lessons. Damn it, so he's just good-looking, tall, and loaded? I'm so jealous of Gu Wenqing, that the guys kept on debating. They were eaten up with envy, but there wasn't a thing they could do about it. The gap between them and Gu Wenqing was just too huge. Anyone who compared themselves to Gu Wenqing was bound to feel a little inadequate. Meanwhile, back in Gu Wenqing's dorm, Huang Zicheng was incredibly embarrassed. 1 second he was swearing that Qin Munan would never be interested in Gu Wenqing. The next, he was eating his words after seeing those two downstairs. He eyed them suspiciously. Gu Wenqing and Qin Munan were sitting on the edge of a flower bed, munching on watermelon. When did they get together? Zhou Tao patted Huang Zicheng on the shoulder. Don't even try to compare yourself. Gu Wenqing's in a league of his own. Huang Zicheng didn't respond. Gu Wenqing ate his watermelon without a care in the world. Qin Munan felt like they'd gone back to when they were 11 or 12, and her name was Yang Mu. she was debating whether to tell Gu or not. Gu still had no idea that she was Yang Mu. She thought about waiting until Gu liked her back, and then surprise him. Qin Munan gently told him to slow down, then took a napkin and wiped the juice off Gu Wenqing's face. "Excuse me, Qin Munan," a guy's voice broke the peace, and a boy quickly approached them. Qin Munan replied politely, "Hi, Senior Wang." Wang Hongliang glanced at Gu Wenqing, who was still busy with his watermelon, and asked, "Is he your boyfriend?" Hearing that, Qin Munan frowned, a little annoyed. "Not yet," she replied, but soon to be, she thought. Wang Hongliang tensed up. He gave Gu Wenqing the once-over and cursed to himself, "Son of Abtch, isn't that Gu Wenqing from the forum? How did he hook up with Qin Munan, too?" Wang Hongliang, a sophomore, had been nursing a crush on Qin Munan. He'd planned to take things slow, but seeing Gu Wenqing, he knew he had to act fast. Wang Hongliang warned, "Qin Munan, don't be fooled by him. Gu Wenqing's got a reputation with the ladies." Gu Wenqing didn't say a word. Seeing Wang Hongliang's aggressive stance, he just looked like a jerk. Gu Wenqing thought talking to this kind of person was beneath him. "Let's eat our watermelon without the commentary. Let's go sit in the car." Gu Wenqing unlocked his Ferrari parked downstairs, cranked up the AC, and they both got in. Wang Hongliang clenched his fists, thinking, "Damn it, how rich is this guy? I'm going to expose his true colors as a player. Qin Munan will see the truth." Gu Wenqing and Qin Munan chatted in the car for a while before they took off. On the way back, Qin Munan couldn't help but be curious. Had Gu Wenqing's family been this rich for the last 7 or 8 years? Back at the dorm, Huang Zicheng asked curiously, "Old Gu, what's the deal with you and Qin Munan?" Gu Wenqing replied honestly, "We're just friends." After all, he and Qin Munan really didn't have anything going on. And since exchanging numbers, they hadn't talked much at all. Zhou Tao smirked. "I don't buy it, Lao Gu. You're not telling us everything." Jing Xiaohong pushed up his glasses and added, "Friends don't bring you fruit on a scorching day like this." Clearly, they all suspected that Gu Wenqing and Qin Munan had something going on. After all, when it's that hot in September, a girl doesn't just brave the weather to buy fruit for any guy. Their relationship had to be more than just friends. Gu Wenqing shook his head and ignored them. Whether it was Chen Yunxue or Qin Munan, he hadn't gone after any of them. Gu Wenqing believed that matters of the heart should be left up to fate. Meanwhile, in a certain apartment in Shanghai, Yuanan was getting stressed. Rent was due again, and she was completely broke. Gu Wenqing's reward money wouldn't come in until next month, and she needed money now. She tried to borrow from her friends, but most of her classmates were students and didn't have much money. Finally, Yuanan thought of her idol, Gu Wenqing. He was so rich. Maybe she could borrow some money to pay the rent and then pay him back when her earnings from the gifts came through next month. Making up her mind, she grabbed her phone, typed, and sent a message. "Yuanan, hey, idol, you there?" Gu Wenqing happened to be on his phone, and when he saw Yuanan's message, he couldn't help thinking about that G-cup, childishly cute figure. He replied flirtatiously, "What's up, baby? Miss me?" Yuanan, I was wondering if I could borrow some money to pay the rent. I'll pay you back when my paycheck comes in. Would that be okay?" Gu Wenqing instantly transferred 10,000 yuan. Yuanan was shocked. "Whoa, hold up. Slow down there. Yuanan, that's way too much. I'll send some back." Gu Wenqing, "Just take it for now. I don't need the money. What I do need is you, winky face." Yuanan blushed. Did her idol like her, too? Yuanan, liar. "Stop it, or I'm not playing." Gu Wenqing, "When I have time, you should definitely invite me up for a drink." Just then, a message came from his senior, Wang Yanran. "Wang Yanran, hey junior, does this look good? Picture." Gu Wenqing thought it was a spicy pic, and he couldn't wait to open it. What the heck? The picture was of the passenger seat of a Porsche. Except this wasn't a new car. The passenger seat had a sticker that read, "Gu Wenqing's little brother's exclusive seat." Gu Wenqing didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Chapter 69. Parking is not allowed here, only Mr. Gu can park. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time's ticking away. Night's closing in. When night hits, Shanghai explodes with lights, music, and free-flowing booze. Gu Wenqing left his dorm with his 3 rowdy roommates. Girls were coming and going in packs. Even though it was only September, the heat was on, and they were rocking shorts and skirts, showing off their legs, or tight tops that left little to the imagination. Pure youthful energy filled the air. Huang Zicheng was shamelessly checking them out, grinning and whispering that one girl was totally giving him the eye. Xionghang wasn't about to be outdone, insisting she was looking at him. Zhou just scoffed at the 2 skinny guys, grinning, "Please, she's obviously checking out Gu." The 4 of them made their way to the parking area. "Alright, so Gu's Ferrari only fits 2, Huang Zicheng announced. Xionghang and Zhou, you guys grab a cab to tax." Huang Zicheng had never ridden in a Ferrari, and he wasn't about to miss his chance. Zhou frowned. "I want to ride in the Ferrari too," Xionghang pouted. "Me too." They all wanted to experience the thrill of riding in a multi-million-dollar sports car, so they could brag about it later. Seeing their disappointment, Gu Wenqing just smiled. "You might be a little disappointed. I'm not driving the Ferrari today. I'm taking another car." Gu Wenqing hit the unlock button on his Bentley, and the headlights flashed on in the darkness. Zhou, Huang Zicheng, and Xionghang were speechless. Gu bought another car. "Is this what it's like to be rich?" Zhou finally managed. "Dude, that thing is sweet." Zhou eyed the Bentley, the classic lines of a coupe, the aggressive front end, the mesh grille, the quad headlights, the big wheels, all screaming power and style. He imagined how awesome it would be to cruise around with Mo Luo in that thing. Huang Zicheng practically dove into the passenger seat, taking in the interior and the new car's smell. "Dude, Gu, this isn't your car, it's some sugar mama's." Gu Wenqing chuckled. "Borrowed it from a friend. Gotta give it back in a couple of days." Gu Wenqing had contacted Lin Yingying earlier, and she told him to take it for a spin. Xionghang jumped in the back and yelled, "I'm done working hard. Gu, hook me up with a sugar mama." Huang Zicheng chimed in, looking hopeful. "The doctor said my stomach's weak, so I can only eat soft rice." Gu Wenqing waved him off. "Get out of here, she doesn't go for monkeys." Xionghang. Huang Zicheng. The Bentley roared to life and pulled out of Shanghai University, heading straight for Tax, Shanghai's hottest nightclub. Gu Wenqing cruised one-handed, making Huang Zicheng insanely jealous. As Shanghai's top nightclub, Tax's parking lot was always packed with luxury cars. Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Rolls-Royces, were a dime a dozen at Tax. Gu Wenqing's Bentley, while impressive, wasn't exactly a showstopper. There were probably a dozen cars worth over $500,000 parked nearby, proving that the rich kids of Shanghai knew how to have a good time. Gu Wenqing parked near the entrance to Tax and told Huang Zicheng and the others to hop out and snag a table. Once they were gone, Gu Wenqing cruised around looking for a spot. Tax was slammed, and the parking lot was full. Gu Wenqing drove around, but there was nothing. Then he noticed an open space right by the entrance of Tax, and figured he could just leave it there. Before Gu Wenqing could make his move, a Lamborghini roared up and stopped right in front of Tax. As soon as the Lamborghini parked, the security guard rushed over, frowning. "Sorry sir, no parking allowed at the entrance to Tax. Please move your car immediately." The Lamborghini driver frowned. "I'm a paying customer. Can't I even stop here?" The security guard was firm. "Sorry, it's company policy." The rich kid in the Lamborghini was pissed, but he was a regular at Tax, so he knew you couldn't park by the door. But since there were no spots open, he thought he'd try his luck. But the security guard was having none of it. The Lamborghini owner glanced at the girl in the passenger seat, and didn't want to lose face in front of her. He grabbed a wad of cash from his bag and said loudly, 3,000 yuan. "I'll park here for the night." The security guard shook his head, refusing. Then 5,000. The security guard still refused. "I'm sorry sir, it's not about the money. Company policy doesn't allow it." The Lamborghini owner's face darkened, and he snapped, "You're turning down money? No wonder you're stuck being a glorified parking attendant for the rest of your life." Then he peeled out, leaving the entrance to tax. The Lamborghini driver finally left. Before the security guard could breathe a sigh of relief, he saw a Bentley GT pull up and stop right there. The security guard was about to lose it. Why were all these rich kids so obsessed with parking in this spot tonight? He marched over, reciting the same lines. Sorry sir, no parking allowed at the tax gate, please drive away as soon as possible. Gu Wenqing got out of the car and asked, nobody at all. Sorry, company P. The security guard stopped mid-sentence, realizing the guy looked awfully familiar. He did a double take and yelled in his head. Holy crap. It was tax's new boss, Mr. Gu. He was lost for words. It was the boss driving the Bentley. He snapped back to reality, and said with an apologetic smile, of course you can park here, Mr. Gu. At the entrance to tax, only you are allowed to park. Mr. Gu owned the entire nightclub, and he could park the Bentley sideways across the entrance if he wanted, and the security guards wouldn't say a word. Gu Wenqing sighed in his head. After the system gifted him tax, it must have downloaded his info into the employees' brains. Alright, keep an eye on the car for me. Gu Wenqing stepped into the club, continuing in a casual tone, tell accounting to give you a $1 bonus. Tell them I said so. As Gu Wenqing walked away, the security guard was overjoyed. He almost gave in to the Lamborghini owner's 5,000 yuan, which was like a month's salary. But he followed the company's rules, and felt awful losing out on that money. Now, the boss was giving him a $1 bonus. His work was being recognized. The security guard swelled with pride. He'd keep an eye on Mr. Gu's Bentley and keep those drunk idiots away from it. Chapter 70 Huang Zicheng, Brothers Still Have a Meeting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Right outside the tax nightclub, two saleswomen, dressed to kill with killer figures, were holding court. Before Gu Wenqing even stepped inside, he heard them chirp, Mr. Gu. One of them, Su Mu, remembered Mr. Gu from his last visit. He dropped serious cash on 20 sets of 5 color dragons. Like, $150 million in one night. Su Mu personally scored 15 grand in commissions from that single order. The craziest part. He didn't even drink the stuff. He just fed it to the dog. Now, here he was again, but this time he owned tax. Seriously next level. Tax was the place to be in Shanghai, packed with high rollers, and making bank every night, so why would the old owner sell? Mr. Gu must have made him an offer he couldn't refuse for that cash cow. Su Mu and the other marketing girl exchanged impressed glances at Gu Wenqing. There were 3 guys just ahead of me, one with blonde hair. Which table are they at? Su Mu smiled, you mean the 2 skinny dudes, the big, muscular black guy, and the one with the bleached hair? Gu Wenqing nodded. Table 3 in section A036. She replied, leading him towards the A3036 tables. Meanwhile, Jinyi, a trust fund baby in a limbo, finally found a parking spot. He parked his ride and brought his eye candy to the club for a good time. It was his friend's birthday, so they were meeting up at tax for drinks and maybe to pick up some girls. As Jinyi approached the entrance, he spotted a Bentley Continental GT parked smooth as you please in the space the security guards wouldn't let him use, and the security guard was practically licking the Bentley. He was polishing it so hard. Jinyi's girl was checking out the Bentley too, that lit a fire under him. He, who lived for appearances, was being played by a security guard in front of his date. He blew up, didn't you tell me I couldn't park here? So how come this Bentley can? A busted Bentley gets a spot, but my Lambo, worth over $700,000, doesn't deserve it. The security guard, still buffing the Bentley, shook his head. Nope. Jinyi's face went pale. What the hell? My Lamborghini could buy 2 Bentley Continentals. Why not? If you don't give me a good answer right now, you're gonna regret it. Jinyi glared at the guard, ready to explode. That's our boss's car. Only he's allowed to park there. Besides, Mr. Gu owns tax. He could block the front door if he wanted to. You gonna stop him? Jinyi was still fuming, but he was stuck. Damn it. Nowhere to vent his anger. The security guard had a point. the owner of tax could park wherever he wanted. It was his club, plus, anyone who owned the hottest club in Shanghai had to have serious connections and a mountain of cash, way out of his league, so, he swallowed his pride, grabbed his date, and stormed into tax. He figured if he could score with this 9 out of 10 tonight, the humiliation would be worth it. Gu Wenqing followed Sumu, enjoying the view. Her legs and hips were on point, especially in that plaid miniskirt. She was working it. Gu Wenqing had to admit, he hadn't noticed what a knockout she was the last time. Nightlife was in full swing now. The club was packed with all kinds, excited girls looking for trouble, dressed-up office workers, middle-aged guys with beer guts, and smoking hot girls. The music was deafening. Lasers were flashing everywhere. Everyone was hyped up, hands in the air, vibing with the DJ. Tax was split into private rooms, booths, and open seating. Huang Zicheng had booked a booth. The best spots were the A1 tables closest to the DJ, then A2, then A3. The minimum spends were just as different. A1 required a $20,000 minimum, A2 was $8,000, and A3 was $5K. Huang Zicheng had booked an A3 booth, which was a fortune for college students. Back at table 3 in section A036, Zhou Tao was already wide-eyed. The girls' skimpy outfits and bare legs were driving him crazy. When he heard that Huang Zicheng had ordered over 5,000 in drinks, he was floored. Damn, Huang Zi. You dropped more in one night than I did in 4 years of college. Zheng Xiaohong was speechless too. Huang Zicheng glanced at the attractive saleswoman and acted casual. It's just over 5,000, dude. I got it like that. He shot another look at the saleswoman, soaking in her admiration. This flexing felt good. Maybe if he played his cards right, he could even hook up with one of the girls. Before he could enjoy the thought too long, an even hotter saleswoman led Gu Wenqing to their booth. The saleswoman who'd been all over Huang Zicheng just moments ago went white as a ghost when she saw Gu Wenqing. Good evening, Mr. Gu. She didn't take her eyes off him, completely ignoring Huang Zicheng. Huang Zicheng, who'd been riding high a second ago, deflated like a punctured balloon. Zhou Tao patted him on the shoulder. Don't sweat it, Huang Zi. Old Gu's just way better looking than you. Huang Zicheng stared. Zhou Tao's attempt at comfort only made it worse. Mr. Gu was here, so everyone at tax went into overdrive. The drinks, fruit, and snacks appeared on the table faster than they could blink. Zhou Tao looked around. No one else had gotten their drinks yet. He figured it was because Huang Zicheng had spent so much. He gave Huang Zicheng a thumbs up. Huang Zi, you're the man. Huang Zicheng perked up. See how fast they serve us. I got pull. Hearing that, the two saleswomen had to cover their mouths to keep from laughing.